Morning, everybody. Today we're going into the depths of love. What are the intensity of love? And here comes sunrise for you. A new day. The fifth day of the Christmas octave. With these beautiful colors and this beautiful place at the Sea of Galilee, ready for our sunrise stroll and chat into the depths of love. Just above Magdala and this northwest corner of the Sea of Galilee, where Jesus did so much of his public ministry. But today we're in the temple in Jerusalem. In the gospel reading. This is where you're walking, people, this morning. I'm going to walk up a little bit more. At least that's the plan. Maybe we'll go at an angle over this way here. Let's peek over this brow here. We might find some other wildlife. We have deer up here and wild boar, but who knows what's here today. There's great visibility. Classify as wildlife. Yesterday when I had finished, I realized I could see Mount Hermon so clearly and snow on top of some of it, and I was sorry I hadn't noticed that before we finished. Today it's up there, it's a little hazy, and you're looking towards Mount Hermon right now. But you can see there's a hotel there, it's called Sea of Galilee Hotel. And if we draw a straight line from us up there, you can have Mount Hermon, but it's not really it's not clear at all on the screen here. There's a little bit. Yesterday was absolutely clear. So here we are, heading up on Mount Arbel. Maybe we'll head over to the cows and that's a nice direction, it's relatively even. I hope you're still celebrating Christmas. Secular society no longer considers Christmas because it's so far away since we had Christmas, but we know that we're living an octave of Christmas. One of the most intensive liturgical periods of the year, delving into that mystery of infinite love. Yeah, now the sun is really becoming brighter here on the ground. I noticed a change of light on the ground because it's probably getting above a certain type of haze and cloud. So the light's almost casting a shadow by now here. I want to see some doves today. Let's hope we see some doves, because the gospel passage speaks of 2 turtle doves, and is the offering of the poor people. And here it's been said many times that Magdala was a place where they bred doves for the temple worship. Yes, people are so kind and happy and joyful during this time. This is the great blessing of Christmas. The world mightn't be perfect. There might be big problems in society and families, in our own hearts. But somehow it's amazing that through history, Christmas actually touched the hearts of so many. Christmas allowed for cessation of armed conflict. And that was a breather for humanity. Even that little bit of love, which was a big deal. And we still have a long way to go to get total cessation of armed conflict in the human family. That would be a glorious day. So I'm going to go through these rocks here, find a little opening here. Look at all the growth. Now we have the cows here in full view. Just behind that little bushery there in front of us. I wonder if it's too cold for the doves. It can't be. They're outdoor creatures. But normally we see doves in the morning. Good to see Nashville there praying for everybody. Every place there's a cross to carry. Back alive from COVID. God bless you, Michael. That gives us all encouragement. So we'll just go up here behind these bushes and they'll provide a little shelter from the wind, which is an east wind. The cows are on the move here. So I'm going to perch the tripod here. Here. A little bit uneven on the ground here. We were on the slope of a hill, so you understand that. This is a very heavy thicket, and it's usually home to the wild boar as well. They hide in these spots, they can get in underneath, and then they have protection and shelter. They're out of view for their hunting. So this is about the mystery of love. And by the way, I have a new cover for the microphone that I got a couple of months ago in Jerusalem, and finally I got it onto the microphone it's for windy conditions. I'm not sure if you notice any difference in the sound, those who are regularly along here for the sunrise stroll and chat, but it's a big feathery thing. So, beloved, the way we may be sure that we know Jesus is to keep his commandments. Whoever says, I know him, but does not keep his commandments is a liar, and the truth is not in him. But whoever keeps his word, the love of God is truly perfected in him. This is the way we may know that we are in union with him, to walk just as he walked. Well, we're not short of walking, are we, with the sunrise stroll and chat every day? Beloved, I am writing no new commandment to you, but an old commandment that you had from the beginning. Whoever says he is in the light, yet hates his brother, is still in the darkness. That's a very, very, very challenging line about love and hatred. It's funny how we can claim to be following Jesus, and yet we can cultivate, when you cultivate lettuce, you cultivate vegetables, we can cultivate hatred in our heart for somebody. And we can bring it to full bloom and to ugly fruits of negative thoughts, harsh thoughts, judgmental attitudes, the depths of love. It's impossible for us to be Christian and to hate somebody, because who is our brother? But even in close family relationships, and the good people can be going to church and they can have this issue. Now, to have the problem is not the issue, because everybody has problems in our relationships. We all have problems in relationships. But the question is the management in our heart of these feelings and thoughts, speculations, judgments about others. And who's my brother? Tell me one person on this earth that's not your brother and sister. So then, no wonder then the depths of love include incredible capacity in the human heart for reconciliation. And we should live with this hope. Whoever hates his brother, this is a harsh line, okay, but just let's listen to it because it helps us to get clarity. Whoever hates his brother is in darkness. He walks in darkness and does not know where he is going, because the darkness has blinded his eyes. I tell you, to walk this ground in the dark is difficult because there are little stones everywhere. There are brambles and briars and even the wild animals. You don't want to get too close to them. And so if you have daylight, it's always, I like start climbing up here in the dark to get some headway, but I'm very happy when there's a little light. It makes it easier. So we have a very strong word there that should become a prayer in our heart for help, so that no matter what the negativity that impresses our imagination, our memory, so memory is a major seat of hatred. Memory is a real problem if there's hatred, because it will remember and count and even amplify wrongdoing from the past that hurt us so badly. And remembering that reactivates hatred and eventually violence, as it does not just in the family, verbal violence and even physical violence, but it also works politically in the smaller communities and towns, neighborhoods, villages, right up to the international community. And it's very hard to wage war if there isn't hatred for the other. And so that's often stoked. And so there is a huge arena of activity for all of us. And I would say especially incumbent on all of us who know the message of Jesus and the gift of Jesus. We have a great task ahead of us there. And we could ask, what am I ready to do to be transformed in this way? How am I ready to be open to God's grace to transform me, to change me? I remember in one particular case, and it was a fellow priest many years ago, and I felt what he did was very improper and unjust regarding me, and it took me a long time to be able to live. Oh, there's a dove. Look, just flew out there. I'm not sure if it's a dove or a crane. Maybe it's one of those animals that... No, it's one of the animals that look at that. Look at that. She landed. Her landing space was on the cow. That wasn't a dove. That was one of those... is it an egret or... has a very long neck. At least from here it looks like that. So the great news about Christmas is that we have the grace that God came in our flesh to live this love, and for us to tap into this love. This is amazing. This is amazing. Let the heavens rejoice, that be glad, and the earth rejoice. This line from Psalm 96 is very appropriate because this is one of the reasons why we're happy at Christmas. It's not the beautiful decorations and the sweet delights that we eat and the music and the old traditional songs that make us happy that we heard when we were children at Christmas time. It's actually this love, that there's a victory coming for us in our hearts, that we can be truly people of love, truly in the image of God. And there is the fountain of joy that we see in this psalm. Let the heavens be glad and the earth rejoice. And how the heavens are glad today. We see those beautiful clouds. And earlier, when we started at the very beginning of this little session, this stroll and chat, there was so much color there in that little strip of cloud. So it was like it was decorated for this day. You remember how we had that song, who sang that song long ago? You decorated my life. I'm not sure if it was Neil Diamond or somebody, but you decorated my life. We can say that about God. You decorated my life. And imagine each of us being salt of the earth and light of the world, decorating somebody else's life. Decorating a whole family's life. And through prayer, decorating people around the world, we have no idea until we get to heaven. You decorated my life. Imagine reaching heaven, people tell us that. Obviously it's God's grace, but we have a role. There are wonderful words of Simeon today, and he proclaims about Jesus that he will be a light of revelation to the Gentiles. Imagine all of us Gentiles all around the world, and we've received this good news, this victory over hatred of our brothers and sisters, that spans the entire arc from the small family feuds to the major international conflicts, the major injustices, major indifference. So there's a lot to say about the presentation in the temple and the offering on the 8th day, the 2 turtle doves, and in Simeon's prophetic words about Christ. And really what's happening here in this presentation is Christ is being totally dedicated to the Father. And he's bringing so much light into the world, so much glory to his people. The child's father and mother were amazed at what was said about him. You know, all of you who are blessed with children, there is so much God is doing in those children. Keep praying for them, the glory God has in store for them in heaven. And then he says to Mary, behold, this child is destined for the fall and rising of many in Israel, and to be a sign that will be contradicted. And if we look around the world today, Jesus is still very contradicted. As much as probably nobody ever made a mark on history like he did, on visible history, and the entire salvation of the world, which is a whole other dimension and expression of that. And then a sign that will be contradicted, and nevertheless he is contradicted. It's hard for us to be contradicted. We really don't like it. But how about learning a habit? Wouldn't that be a great idea? Learning the habit that when we're contradicted, you know, people say, no, you're wrong. I don't want you to do that. In our hearts we can have a little communion with Jesus on this issue. Jesus, I'm sharing in contradiction. It's not maybe because I'm the most just person or perfect person. I might even be wrong in my statement and I need to learn something new. But the experience of contradiction is a point of communion with Jesus. And we see how many times in the gospel Jesus was contradicted and how he handled it. Amazing. But then Simeon turns to Mary and he said, you yourself a sword will pierce. You know, it's amazing. She's the closest to Jesus. And she is also invited into the depths of this love. The amazing depths of love that are not about just well-being or emotional happiness. Love is not sentimentality. Love is about being freed from self-absorption. And there was Mary doing whatever she was told. Do whatever he tells her, she told the disciples. And imagine her broken heart at Calvary and in other moments of the public life as she would learn about them, what was going on. Following Jesus, besides not having hatred, we can expect to have a share in suffering, in the cross. These words of the gospel today are very prophetic in that sense about Jesus' life, that it's a path of the cross to glory, the path of cross to the light. Look at the little calf and his mother, and another one over here, prepared for sacrifice in the temple. Can you imagine? And in a certain sense, that's our lives. To be willing to be a sacrifice for reconciliation. To willing to let go of our high horse, of our insistence and argument, on our readiness to serve, to all of these elements, and might cause us pain, suffering. And this is part of the association with Christ. Here we are in beautiful Galilee. All these wonderful mountains we've commented on so many times. So people, thank you very much for joining this morning, for coming along on the stroll and chat. for your thoughts. I caught a couple of them as they were flying by there on the screen. I should try to catch more, but that's the way it is. So I wish you many blessings today from our beautiful Galilee here at Magdala. Keep us all in your prayers. We'll keep the whole world in our prayers in this COVID situation. We're happy there that Michael came through in good flying colours. Many people are suffering a lot and we're in total lockdown here. So God bless you. See you later, alligators.